everyone, it's Kathleen Byers, founder of Corporate Women Unleashed. Let me double check to make sure we are live and streaming. Oh, it looks like we are. Awesome. Welcome to today's broadcast. What we're going to be talking about today is for executive women, are you playing big or are you really playing small, right? Oftentimes I think as high achieving women, we think we're playing big, and the way we work has gotten us to a place of success until all of a sudden you wake up one day, head down, nose is bent to the grindstone, and you look around and go, is this really what it's all about? Which that starts this whole self-defeating cycle of I feel guilty that I'm not more grateful for what I have, but why is it that what I have not really satisfying me? I don't feel content. And if anything, I'm starting to feel burnt out and disillusioned. Okay, so again, my name is Kathleen Byers. I am the founder of a company called Corporate Women Unleashed, and we work with high achieving women, executive women, to help you learn how to avoid the burnout that often comes and the sacrifice that often comes with being in such a powerful position. You can have well-being, you can prioritize your personal life, you can have flexibility, you can have control, I promise you. But you do have to learn how to work different, and that's what we help women do. Now, today what we want to talk about is an illusion that a lot of us executive or high achieving, highly successful women have, which is I'm breaking all the rules, okay? And I thought this in my own career for a really, really long time. It wasn't until I got on the other side of this that I was able to look backwards and go, there was that V8 moment of going, I was the problem that was standing in my way. I thought I was being so avant-garde, and really I wasn't. So one of the first things I want to suggest that we all look at is how you are working. And I'll just give you some example from my own journey and the things that I learned. But for example, one of the things I was doing is I was working internationally. And when you work internationally, it's different, right? It's definitely different than how the rest of the world is working domestically. You have to, pull into account time differences, cultural differences, different teams, all these different things, right? And it was different. It was cool. It was fun. It was exactly what I wanted to be doing. However, I got into a point in my career where I was spending so much time on airplanes. I was living and breathing, commuting back and forth on airplanes, business trips. I'd get home from one and there was another one. Didn't have a lot of time to catch my breath. I was working from home, and this was in the early 2000s when you didn't see as much of that virtual, work from home type of thing. So it seemed on the surface that I was different. I didn't go into an office every day from 9 to 5. I worked from home a lot of the times when I was home. I was working all over the world, which is certainly exciting and very different. But here's the thing. So I thought I had created and crafted this really unique, different career that suited my needs. However, I didn't understand human needs, and I didn't understand human behavior back then. And it really didn't meet my needs. Now, it did in terms of purpose. I loved what I did. I loved working internationally. That met my need for autonomy and freedom. That is the environment I wanted to work in. It did from a security standpoint. I was an executive at a very young age. I had a huge responsibility. I was able to have huge impact on both my team, my colleagues, my boss, as well as the women that we served in that company, our clients, our customers. But here's the thing. Because of how I was approaching my work, even though I thought it was so different and I was such a rule breaker, and I mean, people would ask me to do things in the corporation and I always had my way of doing it. And it was like, it was Kate always had a unique view. I mean, that's kind of what I was known for is someone who's able to stretch possibilities. I was still working according to what I thought I had to do to be valuable. Okay. So what I had done was taken this mentality we have around work, which is, Kate, you have to work hard. If the company needs you, you need to be there. You need to make personal sacrifices, and you need to show up and show them and prove to them continuously that you're valuable, okay? So the fact that it was wrapped up in a package of international travel, and it was wrapped up in a package of work from home, and it was wrapped up in a package of challenging, the status quo or some of the projects or the requests that I got, I still was playing small. Because I was trapped in this mindset that I have to constantly prove my value, constantly prove I'm worthy, or I will no longer be needed here, or I will lose my job, or I will be passed over for promotion, or I won't be deserving of the role I have. Hey, you've given me this executive title. I damn well better wear the pants and do what I have to. So that's a perfect example of how we think sometimes we're playing it big. We think sometimes we're outside the box. I mean, being an executive in your early 30s, that's certainly, not seen every day. That was unusual as well. So there was all of these things that I thought I was doing to play it big and look at me, and boy, I'm doing things that are really special and different than what the rest of the world is doing. But it wasn't suiting me because I was burning out because I was working so much. Because even though I had flexibility, like I was a single parent, my daughter would come home from school. Instead of really standing there and focusing on her, it was like, hey, go get your snack, go get started on your homework. I'll be right there. Da, 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 da. And then I'd be on my computer, right? Or she would say, Mom, can you watch a movie with me tonight? Well, and I'd go back into my office. Let me do one more email. And an hour and a half later, I was always on. Okay. So that's a perfect example of how a lot of times we think we're playing big, but we're really playing small because we're still trapped in this mindset of you can change your job, you can change your boss, you can change the industry, you can change the department or the division you're working in. But if you're not changing your mindset and how you approach your work, you're still playing small, right? Because everybody in this world's a hard worker, right? I mean, the person who's like sweeping the shop floor or whatever, they're a hard worker. So we're ascribing to the same mentality. And especially since a lot with women, that we feel we have to prove ourselves at all times. And that is such bunk, right? Especially now that you're 10, 15, 20, 30 years into your career, you've proven yourself. There's nothing to prove. You have value. Does it mean that you don't want to continue to learn? Does it mean that you don't want to continue to expand? No, all those things are important. But you already have value. You know how to do what you do. So why are you trying to prove it? Okay. And when you can switch that value equation to say, wait a minute, first of all, I feel fully aligned internally as to why I'm in this room. I can say no to a business trip, or I can rescope a project, or I can deliver results in a different way. And it's not going to affect my value. I am valuable for who I am, not what I do. I get to do it the way I need to. Okay. I don't have to prove myself anymore. That's playing it big. That's saying, you know what? I understand the job I'm hired for. This is how I need to do it. Okay. And this is how it's going to get done. The other piece about playing small is the communication of that. Okay. So we see a lot of women who they're not so afraid to buck the system, let's just say, and say like, no, I don't want to do it that way. Or I'm not going to whatever, live on an airplane, which is what you think I need to do to get my job done or whatever. So women can become pretty good at saying no. But when we say no, we're saying it with this huge, like, no, I am not doing that. Like the big hand, what is it like? Put the hand up kind of a thing. And so because women don't feel comfortable or really confident rescoping how they're going to do their job and understanding that value equation, we come up with these hard boundaries or these hard lines. And those hard boundaries and those hard lines keep us communicating in the way that still means we're trying to prove ourselves, because now what we're doing is we're trying to logically sit down with our stakeholders and explain to them why it needs to be different. And that is exhausting. That's going to burn you out right there. Because if you're just trying to logically continue to go to someone and say, this is the way we need to do it, this is the way we need to do it, you're just known as the woman who has to do it her way. You're the bull in the china shop. You're the glass chewer that just can't let go. And so then that starts to erode at your brand reputation either. So we don't want to be the wallflower who has to constantly prove ourselves, but you also don't want to be the bull in the china shop who's just like my way or the highway buddy, right? Like that's not effective. And believe me, I've done that as well. And we see that a lot with women we work with too. And it's like, okay, how can I really be authentic and walk in here and say, look, working in this way that's established for this position is going to burn anyone out, not just me, anyone in this role. So in order to be successful in this role, this is what it needs to look like. And this is what the work needs to look like. And this is how this project needs to be, executed against or whatever. But you have to communicate it in a way, and this is where you've got to be playing big and bolder, in a way that the stakeholder understands how it will serve them, okay? And what a lot of women, misunderstand or assume is that just get the job done. Oh my God, if we hear that, like if I had a dime for every time I heard that from a client or just from a woman I talked to on the phone, my boss just doesn't care. He just wants me to get the job done. What do I do? And I'm like, well, you navigate that, right? You have to help him understand that what he needs is not aligned with the way he's asking you to do it. And the same thing with a stakeholder or a client or a leadership team or a team member. It doesn't matter who you're talking to. Everyone, like the science of human behavior works across all levels of, management or whatever. So you have to help people understand what they need and the result they're trying to get is misaligned with how they're asking it to be done. But don't worry, you're going to help them get their need met. And if they continue to fall back on that, you just have to keep reminding them, right? Because that's the other thing women don't like to do is we want to put up this boundary, have everybody sign off on a piece of paper, and we're like, oh, thank God, okay, they've approved that this is how we're going to do it. And then we just want to kind of go about our business and work that way, not understanding that you're dealing with human beings who have emotions, who have needs, who have things that are going on in their own world, and they may come back and no longer agree to the agreement. That happens a lot. And as you rise up in your career, to think that you can put up boundaries or put up standards or put up rules of the road and everyone's going to operate on those ongoing is a bit of a misnomer. That's probably not going to happen. Even in some of the best cultures that we've worked with, people are people. Right? They're going to get scared. They're going to have fears. They're going to have egos. They're going to have things that get in the way. So it's your role to help people be the people you need them to be. That's playing big. That's taking risks. That's walking in the door saying, I'm going to influence what's going on versus, why are these people once again not, living up to the agreement that we had put into place 2 weeks ago when we first scoped the project or whatever. Does that make sense? So really changing how you approach your work, approach your communications, and approach your thought process, that's what really gets you to a place where it's like, okay, now I am a risk taker, but I'm a risk taker who's getting results. And the results are the value that I've promised my company I'm going to give them, as well as doing it within an environment where my own well-being is served at a very high level. Okay, because obviously as an executive, and I mean, you pick up any Harvard Business Review, Wall Street Journal, everyone's talking about executive well-being. This is like quite the thing, the topic, right? So it is well known that burning people out and running people into the ground is not going to be effective for any company. At the same time, your value equation can't be, you better treat me this way, otherwise I'll burn out, because your role at this point is to figure out what that looks like. You need to be influencing everyone else in your environment to create that for yourself. You can't be sitting there expecting your boss at a senior level to tell you what your environment needs to be or to protect you, right? I mean, even the best bosses who care. I mean, we have women we work with whose bosses are begging them to take time off, like, please. So you are the one that really has to create that for yourself. You've got to create it for your team. You've got to create it. And many times we have women who are influencing their leadership. We have one client who worked with us last spring. And she was so amazing. She works in an international environment. The company headquarters is abroad. So of course there's time zone issues. And then when people are in town, it's like, oh my God, people are in town. Everyone give up your children for the next week because, you're going to have to be doing this and, forget your personal life. And she's done a marvelous job with the skills we've taught her of navigating that and saying, great, I can come to this meeting. I can't come to that. She's not going to miss her kid's soccer game, or she might miss one, but she's not going to miss all of them for the week. Or she might go out for drinks with everyone after, but she's not going to go to the dinner. And the really cool thing about it, and this is where the rubber hits the road of being bold and playing big, is you've got to feel comfortable with it and live in a different mental and emotional state. Because I think any woman can walk out the door and say, hey, buddy, I'm out. I'm not coming to the company dinner tonight. I've already given you too much for the week. I think we all can have that sort of defensive attitude. That's not what it's about. It's about saying, oh, great. You know what? I am going to come to this. I'm not going to go to this dinner and not feel bad about it, not feel guilt about it, not be going, oh gosh, oh, she's going, oh, should I go? Should I not? Am I missing out? What are they going to think? And then we go home and we spend time, on the treadmill or with our children or hanging out with our spouse or doing whatever, but we're still not happy, right? So if you cannot create the mental place where you're really comfortable with your value and that whatever move you've just made is exactly the right move and it's not going to damage you in some way, now you're truly living without fear. Right now, you're truly playing big because you understand that you can navigate your world and navigate your environment very powerfully and very effectively and feel empowered and feel authentic and feel good about it and not feel like, oh, okay, I got out of that meeting. I wonder if I could do that again. I mean, creeping around behind the scenes, believe me, I tried that. I did that for a long time. Or, I would work and work and work until finally I was like, oh God, I can't go on one more business trip. Then I'd explode and I'd have some big talk with my boss or whoever and say like, oh, I just can't come. Like, I just got to have a break. And they would always give me a break, but then I would just be ramping right back up again. So it became like this roller coaster of work, drop, work, drop. And there was never a consistent feeling of fulfillment, contentment, control. It was just always like waiting for the other shoe to drop, waiting to prove myself, wondering how come there was always another hoop out in front of me that I had to jump through. That's not playing it big. Yes, I had a big title. Yes, I had a big paycheck. Yes, I had an audacious responsibility in my job. But the whole way, you creeping your way through it and constantly worrying, that's not playing it big. Playing it big is feeling comfortable and confident where you're at. It's knowing when to contribute, knowing when you can be absent and it's okay. And it doesn't matter how important the meeting is. It is not going to put a dent in your loyalty, your credibility, or anything else, right? And knowing how to also really take care of yourself at a very high level, regardless of the hours that you need to put in on any given week, right? Now, all of a sudden, you're playing at a whole new level. That's a whole new league. Anyone can work, and then drop on a Saturday. Anybody can fly around on airplanes all day long and, give up their personal life. And I hope you really hear me when I say this. And I know it's going to be hard to hear because some of you are like, okay, Kate, so what are you saying? We all have to be like softies and we don't do this stuff? No, I'm saying you need to be empowered at the next level. It is not about a trade-off of what most women think it is it's a trade-off. It's a trade-off between I either work really hard and I'm this badass who's capable of this amazing shit, or I'm just going to be this softie who's a couch potato who doesn't care and has to go home every night at 5. Okay, in between those two extremes is like so many shades of gray. And in fact, it's not even in between. I would say like, this is where like the rest of the world lives, is in between those two extremes. And then there's this whole other level. Like, that's the level I want to inspire you to. That's the level we take our clients to. It's like, you got to get above the fray of that work hard and thrive, work hard and have success, or don't work a lot, but have a personal life, like, you've got to just get above the whole thing. It's just a whole new level to come on to. And the really cool thing about it is when you learn to do this, it does not matter what your leadership team is doing. It doesn't matter if everyone else around you is working that way. It's tragic, but they can do that all day long. Because once you understand human behavior and the psychology behind why people are making the choices, you'll see why they're making those choices, and you'll see why they're trapped in their own psychology. But you won't be anymore, because you don't have to be trapped in your psychology. You'll understand how to play big. And if you look at a lot of really audacious women leaders, and you look at someone who you may aspire to be, or a mentor, or something that's, I'm trying to think of some who would be like newsworthy. Sarah Blakely is the first one that comes to mind. Sarah's story is not just about Spanx. It's a story about her personal journey. Like, if you ever look at any of her videos or some of the interviews she does, it is all about Sarah working on Sarah. That's what gave her the capability to do what she did, right? And so that is she's such a wonderful case study, I guess is the only word I can think of, in what I'm talking about. When you work on you and you are elevating where you live mentally, physically, emotionally, and you are understanding who you need to be, all this other stuff that we worry about is all about us trying to prove ourselves and living in fear. You get above that, and then it's like, it's not that you're fearless, because I think that's a misnomer. We still have fear, but now the fear doesn't scare you. It's like, oh, fear, got it, okay. What do I need to do? It's not like, oh, fear, retract, stay back. It's like, okay, fear. I mean, I think we can all agree that Sarah Blakely had to walk through a lot of fearful situations. Doesn't mean she didn't have fear along the way. It just means that she knew how to walk through it. She knew how to not let it prevent her from having the life, the company, and the footprint that she wanted to have. So I hope that makes sense. And that's where you really start playing it big. When we live in a world of fear, when we live in a world of retraction, when we live in a world of, I don't know if I should do that, it keeps us small. Here's a perfect example of how strong this can be in our psychology too. Over the last probably month, I've been talking to different women on the phone. We do these breakthrough calls or discovery calls where we invite women who qualify to get on the phone with us and chat with us about what's going on in their career, what's going on with their, if they're feeling burnout, how they're able to control their career so they can have the personal life that they're missing. And I can't tell you that we will get women on the phone who will say, Kate, look, I'm at a point where I will do just about anything to have quality of life. Like I am just exhausted. So I am ready to walk away from my job and take something less. I'm like, okay, great. So how much is that going to cost you every year? And they'll say, whatever, it'll cost me a promotion because I'm just about to step into like some executive level. It'll cost me, anywhere from, 25 to 50 to $100,000 a year. It'll cost me bonus. And I'm like, wow, okay, that's a lot of cost financially as well as personal regret, right? And they'll say, yeah, but I can't keep working at this pace. I can't keep giving up time with my husband. I can't keep giving up my health. I'm going to die if I don't change things. Okay, I get it. And so we'll say, so why don't you invest in fixing this? Why don't you invest in learning the skills that you need, shifting the mindset that you need so you can start elevating where you play and have what you want? Oh, I couldn't do that. Like, okay, why not? I don't use credit cards. What? You don't use credit cards? Now listen, I'm kind of making fun of that, but I can't tell you how many times we hear that. And I was that way too. Like I was raised by a baby boomer father who was like, you pay for cash for things and you don't buy something until you have money in the bank and don't you get yourself into debt. And and that was great. I mean, that's a wonderful way to think. And I know we've got like the Dave Ramseys of the world who's out there doing their thing. But look, really playing bold in life means you understand how to leverage debt. Rich people, wealthy people, you guys should know this. You use debt to leverage making more money. And so enhancing your ability to navigate at the executive level, what does that do for you? It broadens your opportunity to create more wealth and fluidity for your family and yourself, right? But it is so funny how psychologically women will not invest in themselves. It's like, I can't spend money on myself. I could spend money on shoes, could spend $500 on that, but I couldn't spend money on really creating some game-changing, opportunities for myself. And it's like, wow, that is a perfect example of how we play small, because we've married ourselves to this idea that if we put anything on a credit card, we're doing something bad. We're going against an agreement we had with our spouse or whatever. We are being wasteful. We see that so often. That's a perfect example of how someone's playing small. It's like you had this issue for 20 or 25 years and you're not going to fix it. Just put it in your credit card and pay it off over 2-3 months and you're done. Like, this is it. That's all you have to do. And it's like, oh, I won't do that. And really what's behind this and all of these examples I've given you, like behind the money one, it's never about the money. It's about fear, right? Can I do it? What if I fail? What if this doesn't work for me? What if it's not possible? That's what's really going on. And the same thing was happening for me in my executive career I just gave you example for. I didn't think, because I was living in a state of fear, that I could offer up to my company any other style of working. I thought when they said, you got to get on a plane, I got on a plane. When someone even hinted I needed to get on the plane, I got on the plane. It never occurred to me that I could say, you know what, this is working for me in some ways, but it's not working in others. Like, I really miss the fact that I'm not a more hands-on mom. For me, that was a big deal because I was a single mom and I was having to, go through all these hoops to figure out how to provide care for my daughter when I was gone, and a nanny and all these different things. And it was just really stressful for me, and I missed her. And I could have asked my company for like, hey, from now on when I travel, would you help me? But I want to bring the nanny and my daughter with me. That could have been a great solution for me. Maybe not, right? There's no way I would have ever asked that. Like, there's no way I would have asked that. Oh, you can't do that. You can't put your personal life on the company. And we have women that we're working with right now. They're like, I don't understand how I could go to my boss and tell them all my personal demands. I'm like, well, it's not a personal demand. You're just navigating because you understand your value. That would have been an ideal solution for me if I could have done that. I could have asked for less travel. I could have asked for shorter trips. There's so many different ways I could have rescoped that. I could have asked for a different role in the company temporarily until my daughter was older. There's so many ways I could have solved that and really been bold about what I offered and the solutions, and I didn't do it. And it had nothing to do with anything but fear. All of these are fear-based mindset traps that once you get beyond those, the quality of life is just so simple and easy. It's just beautiful. And that is where the fruit that you're looking for, how do I enjoy the fruit of my labor? That's where it is. It is just beyond that gate, but you got to put the key in and unlock it. That's it, right? So one side we play small, on the other side we play bold and big, and that's the difference. So guys, it's been fantastic speaking with you today. Give me some chat in the comments. How many of you feel like you're playing small? How many of you understand what I'm talking about when I talk about that gate? Do you feel like, or what questions do you have around, can I ask for these things? How do I do that? I mean, these are good conversations for us as women to have. So don't feel, don't be bashful. Put something in the comments, whether you're watching this live or whether you're watching it later and recording, and we'll come back through and we'll answer those for you. I mean, that's important for all of us women to sort of really elevate this conversation and understand what's truly possible. Now, if you are a highly successful woman, if you're an executive woman and you are feeling like you're approaching burnout, you're feeling like you are stuck, your career always comes first, your personal life is coming second, and you know that you are wired for success, and it's time to start changing that equation so you can enjoy the fruits of your labor. Let's get you out of the gilded cage. Book a call with us. It's really easy. We'll just spend about 45 minutes on the phone. It's super short. It's super quick. We'll sort of lay out a game plan for you, get some clarity on what's going on. It's a lot of fun. And if what is going on for you is something that we can help you with, we'll tell you. If not, we're going to send you somewhere else and we'll get you some other resources. So either way, you'll get some great clarity and know what to do moving forward. Again, guys, my name is Kathleen Byers, founder of Corporate Women Unleashed. It's been fantastic speaking with you, and look forward to talking with those of you who book a call soon. Take care. Bye.